coming to you from the Loading Ready Run orbiting underground moon base.
It's the LRRcast!
Anime! Yeah, it's that time again.
It's actually way past that time again.
It's so past that time.
So, our apologies.
Maybe we should just stop watching anime.
It's true.
It's your solution to everything.
Yes.
What?
So we are doing the Winter 2016 recap,
Yep.
and then the Spring 2016, which we are currently in.
Preview?
Currently viewing
Mid-view.
notes.
I like to call
Mid-season review.
I'm going to steal this from one of my favorite blogs and call it a thin slicing.
We have
That's-
thin provision this podcast.
That sounds like
It's based
punishment.
it's based on a Malcolm Gladwell thing. You can look it up at blogsuki.net. They're really good at their thin sliced anime reviews. Anyway,
Not a sponsor of this
no,
podcast.
not at all. But
I'm Beej.
Heather.
I'm Ian.
I'm Cori, and I'm going to start us off with Digimon Adventure Try 2
Again?
Yay!
Ketsui, or Determination.
Ooh.
Do they get determined?
Some of them get determined, some of them have a fight, some of them do a cultural festival where they dress up as cheerleaders.
As you do, yeah.
Yeah.
Does it have a conclusion? Or is it because it's part of a series?
Something dramatic happens. There's a cliffhanger ending again because it's a 6-part movie thing. They're 90 minutes and they put them out episodically, so it's like you get 4 episodes that are 25 minutes
Oh, wow.
instead of like the 90-minute chunk.
Okay.
So it was technically a movie, but 4 episodes of a movie.
Did it feel like 4 episodes?
Well, there's an intro and outro on each of them.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Neat. How'd you enjoy it?
I think I'm getting tired of it because it's just there's a lot going on and I'm not as familiar with the S2 Digimon people, so they brought back the Digimon Emperor,
Oh.
which I'm not particularly familiar with, and he seems to be evil again. Ichijoji Ken.
Yeah, Ken.
Uh,
I only know the English names. I don't know the Japanese ones super well.
yeah.
Which is annoying.
And that's a lot of their names are really similar, which was kind of cool. But and they use a lot of the English names for the Digimon. And they show up on the devices when they digivolve. And we got to see some new Digivolutions this time.
Are they fancy?
They're fancy. One of them had a lot of boobs.
More than the requisite amount.
Like a 6-pack?
Wait.
Not like a cat. Not like a cat. This was more like if a giant cactus turned into a giant lady that had boobs.
Some fan art to
Really
commission
had to
now.
jiggle a lot.
Is this the Digimon I'm thinking of? Palmon?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, Patamon?
Figures.
Palmon.
No, Palmon.
Okay, good.
The cactus one. The plant type
Not
one.
Patamon, who turns into
Patamon is the one that looks like a pig with bat wings.
Yeah, because that's the one I would expect to have like 6 nipples like a cat or a pig. But the
More like a pig, I would hope.
yeah, but the
All down here and shit.
cactus, that's not something I would think of as
Having boobs?
yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why? Because it's too
So-
prickly?
Well, it's yes. Let's be honest, yes.
Just needle nipples.
We also saw the return of Ogremon and Leomon. And Leomon sneaks the other Digimon into the cultural festival in disguise. So there's a lot of disguising.
Cute.
Actually, they also did the bath one at the same time.
A bathhouse
So
episode?
there's like a bathhouse episode and then a cultural festival.
Oh, they're hitting all the tropes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Awesome.
They're also doing stuff like shooting Digimon with guns and dealing with the consequences of growing up and having different things to focus on. And
Wild.
it's a lot going on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to catch up on that.
Okay, I guess that means that I am next because you are crossing off your list.
Yes.
Which means, oh, good. The first thing on my list of things that I watched was Boku Dake ga Inai Machi, or if you call it by its slave name, Erased.
Jesus Christ.
Why would you do that, Ian?
Oh, erased! Oh, it's so good.
Again, I shout out to Mother's Basement for that joke because they're also really good. Yeah, wow, that series was top of list for the last season.
Definitely.
I mean, as I said in my preview, I'd been wanting a show about adults with adult themes and a story that ends, and this seemed to start off that way, and then they all turned into grade schoolers. But that's okay because one of them is still an adult in a child's body.
Right, and if you're listening to this, it sounds like a terrible idea, but it's about grade schoolers doing adult things. No, that's not true at all.
Except
No.
possibly. Anyway, It's just a really good self-contained mystery series that has a beginning, middle, and end. I won't say that it's bad. I wouldn't say that it's bad at all. But there's some foreshadowing that happens in the series. Like you think that it's going to.
It's a psychological thriller with a lot of
Yeah.
foreshadowing.
It sets up some characters to see me.
So many double bluffs.
Yeah, that's exactly.
I'm talking myself out of what I thought was the reality.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
without spoilers, because I don't want to spoil that for anyone ever. Did it end up being the person who you thought it was going to be? Did you figure that out like the first time he showed up?
Eventually, okay, the first time he showed up, I had my suspicions. And then the series did a good job of saying, oh, of course it can't be him. And then I had more suspicions. And then the series did a very good job of saying, no, of course it can't be him. So by the time double bluffs all the way through.
It's really good for that.
But the show is set in like the mid 90s. In the modern day portion, it's set in the mid 90s, which makes it the series a perfect reflection of itself because it's got an Asian Kung Fu Generation series opening, which is just like a show of that era.
I think it was 1988 and 2006.
Yeah, sorry, mid 2000s. I get the mid 90s and
I know.
2000s.
Yeah, I like to think that I didn't live through an entire decade.
There was some different time hops.
But the anime is top notch. The character design is on point. The direction of the scenes is spectacular. In something you don't see in.
The pacing is great.
And the subject matter too, right? Because not to give it away, but
because it's super mature.
Yeah, the idea is that this guy, when he goes back in time, he realizes, like, right, there are these 3 people that were murdered back in my youth.
Or went missing.
Yeah, went missing.
Well, one
and
of the
eventually
bodies, I think, was found.
Yeah, they found one of the bodies and was like, oh, I could, but I'm back here now. And because his power allows him to like jump back in time 5 minutes, now he's come back to his youth, and it's like, now I can fix this.
He has a power that allows him to go back in time and do a revival, as he calls it, of a situation in which someone gets hurt or something bad happens. What I like about the series is it doesn't lay hard on his superpower. It's not. It
doesn't Groundhog Day.
It's not
he doesn't get a lot
It's
of
not a superhero show. It's a self-contained. The best analogy I can give to it is it's like a sci-fi short story put in anime form.
It's really good at that.
Well, I mean, they don't, like, the power is there as part of the conceit of what happens, but it's like once it happens, you don't see it for ages.
And he doesn't need to train to
get better at it. If it does happen again, it's
or
like, and it's
he doesn't have any control over it.
Yeah, he's no control over it, but it's not like, oh, well, we're going to really focus in on that.
Which makes it feel very much like it's like divine intervention. It's like, you get a shot at this, and he's like, I get one shot at this.
But he doesn't know what he has to do.
Exactly.
It's something that happens to him.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite things about the series is the way that it uses the opening theme to change as the series goes along.
Yeah, watch every opening.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, Erased, best show of the season for me. And I think for a lot of us too, actually.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Heather.
I'm going to talk about Active Raid. It's an okay show.
Oh no.
Sure
I
is.
have some problems with it that made it not a great show that I would probably like.
So what was it?
It's about a police unit essentially, like a special unit, Unit 8, who have what do they call it? Cyberwares?
They call them willware.
Willwares, but
and they're
it's
mecha suits.
It's like a mecha suit that's form-fitting that goes around them, and so I was kind of expecting a weird kind of Power Ranger, but with mech suits,
right.
and
Fighting.
kind of fun. Yeah, and some fighting, and there is that, and there's a overarching plot that's okay. It's not great. The episode that really, really annoyed me was an episode about poker.
Oh yeah.
They called it poker. It was an elaborate game of 21, but they kept doing those intense shots that you see in like sports anime or gaming anime where it's like, oh my goodness, yes, let me show you my real skill. And I'm like, you're putting down another card and turning it over. You can't even change the card in. This game is completely luck. Why do you keep saying there is skill in this game?
It was Texas Hold'em.
But it's not even bluffing?
Everything's dealt face up.
It's you one card face up, they'll put down another card, and then they'll both flip them over, acting as if they have control over what card they're flipping over.
Yeah,
but
it
they
really
don't.
didn't feel
and
like...
then a machine will put down another card. It's 21 with 5 cards. is what it really is.
Wow.
It felt kind of dumb.
And that was annoying. That was the one that annoyed me absolutely the most, to the point where I probably would have stopped watching it, except I kind of wanted to know how it would end out. And
So you got through it?
yeah, I got through the whole thing. The thing that you see at the very beginning, where it's like, here's this computer program and it's like a mascot and everyone's using it, which is so obviously going to be
The big
part
bad.
of the big bad thing, is too obvious.
It's too transparent. When you see at the very beginning, you're like, oh, everyone's putting this on their system. Oh, we should install this everywhere. And it's like, oh, come on!
And then like the ending could have been really good, except they did some stuff where it was like completely weird, implausible password things where this guy gave a hint, but there's no way that would have made sense, and just everywhere. And like, I wanted to like you. You looked like you could have been fun.
The fighting sequences were pretty good, and it felt... The one thing I did like is that it gave you a taste of that Pat Labor-esque thing where different divisions are kind of fighting each other, where what you had was that different locations, different precincts would be like one city, one prefecture, or whatever, would be kind of like, we don't give you permission to do anything here. And they're like,
Yeah.
we can come right up to the borderline and we can do whatever, but we're not allowed to come into the city. And then they would have to like negotiate with that prefecture to allow them to come in and actually do their law enforcement
The
job,
politics
because nobody
portion
likes them.
was kind of interesting because, well, it wasn't necessarily that no one liked them. It would be like, Unit 8 is here. They have to do a rescue mission. There's a thing going on right now. They need to get onto this bridge. The person who owns control of the bridge will not give them permission because they don't want it damaged, or they don't want the surrounding buildings damaged.
That's interesting, because that's a plot point that came up later on in Gundam Iron Rebel Orphans as well, when they were going into Edmonton, of all places. But it's interesting to see that come up again twice in one season.
And that I really liked. I would have liked more focus on, like, I think they were trying to focus on that, but there was some other stuff that kind of got in the way. But just the idea of like, okay, we have permission from everyone, and then a higher power comes down and says, yeah, no, you can't, because they're actually part of something that's going on and they want that person to die. But they can hold that unit back, and in the news, the unit is the one that will take the blame for not doing anything.
That actually sounds a lot more in style than with pew 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 pew. Wow,
You're right, just like it.
Ghost in the Shell standalone complex.
Oh yeah. There's a lot of that.
Like if you like that kind of politics, I'd suggest just go back and watch that.
I'm done now. You can talk
Cool.
about your own anime.
Yeah. Ansatsu Kyoushitsu.
Okay.
Assassination Classroom. On to their third season.
Is this the
Wow.
third one?
This is the third, the one we're talking about in winter's the third one.
Oh.
They just started final season, and they literally put it up on the thing. It says final season. It's like this.
Wow.
What I love about Assassination Classroom is that it really is being written to have an end, because
Well, there's a hard ending.
yeah, there's a hard ending in it that they cannot escape, because the idea is that Koro Sensei, the big yellow ball-headed dude,
Alien.
yeah, alien guy, they have until March to kill him, and if they don't, he blows up the Earth.
Yeah.
And it's like, there is no kind of finagling or getting out of this. It's like, this is what's going to happen. So it's been a hell of a lot of fun to watch. And if I've talked about it in previous seasons, well, this season was just as good. All sorts of great stuff was happening. Still, there's a couple moments that just made me grind my teeth a bit, but that's more to do, I think, with the people involved. That it's like the
characters you don't like?
the characters I don't like. It's like, right, they have a very heavy focus on this thing.
I
It's
would have
like,
liked it if they had focused a little bit more on, Nagisa's mom arc.
Sure, yeah.
That would have been nice.
If you've been reading the manga, Nagisa's mom, that arc gets... I mean, that's the thing that I've really loved about this, because I've read the manga up to a point, and now I've stopped reading the manga because I want to see how the anime is going to play out the rest of it.
Okay.
I can go back and read the manga, something I've never done before. I am really, really keen, because they've been so good at following the manga up to this point, that I'm like, now how do they take it for their last season, where I have not read anything else other than the backstory arc? And I'm really, like, third season was really good, other than having to watch a couple of characters. I'm like, just like, but they had some really good moments.
But the manga is over.
The manga is done.
Okay.
It is completed.
He just found
He's just
out.
doing side stories now,
Great.
which is
Yeah.
kind of like to sew up some threads. So watch that. Back to you.
I am doing Haito Genso no Grimgar.
Yeah!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So on your guys'
What?
recommendation, I watched it.
It's good.
It's good.
Yeah.
It's quite good. It's a trapped in an MMO series where the characters do not remember that they are from a different place, really. Like, they have, at the beginning, more kind of memories about, I should use my cell phone to this. What's a cell phone? And then death is permanent.
That's new.
Yeah. So it's like they can gain experience by hunting goblins and level up skills and join guilds and do class stuff, but then also there's the constant threat of actually dying on a mission.
Yeah. And you can be brought back from the dead. It's
If you're like
alluded
just
to.
barely
Yeah.
dead.
Yeah,
But
like,
once you die, you die.
I felt like it was a lot like erased in the fact that, yeah, you're in an MMO,
Yeah.
but it doesn't harp on that. It doesn't like point that out consistently.
It's the only time it comes up is when they talk about the skills they can use.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels very much like, oh, this is we're gaining skills where, I have to do this and then I can use this skill because I trained to do whatever. Now I've leveled up. Like,
But
even say level
so much
up.
of the focus of the story is about actually just the grieving process
Yeah.
Yeah.
that they go through, or the different characters, because there's like pre-existing groups in the world that have been just like decimated, and they run into characters and gain relationships with people that have just experienced massive loss.
I've heard it described as a Sword Art Online where people actually grow and have
Yeah.
reason for existing.
Yeah, the characters grow because they have to like learn how to work together
Yeah.
after being like in a situation.
Okay.
Or
I've heard-
learn what their own goals are.
People have said it's like Dark Souls, the anime. I'm like, not really. I mean,
No.
no, but I understand that because it's like it is punishing. The world that we live in is a punishing world. You start at level 1, and then if you survive long enough, you might make it to level 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's not much. I haven't seen much anime that solely focuses on just grief and watching different types of people work through grief,
Yeah.
and then also
Not a
still
lot of
have
anime
to
like that.
and then still have to work together as a group.
I have some suggestions for you later.
I don't want to watch Attack on Titan.
No, God, no. No, I was thinking of...
no one grieves in Attack on Titan.
Oh, good. All right.
That's like a story element.
Girl with hat.
Okay, it's your turn, Ian.
It's gonna bug me until I come up with it.
But you liked Grimgar.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we
quite a
liked
lot.
it too.
Boys on a ship. What was it? Lord of the Flies on a ship.
Oh, I know which one
Infinite
you're talking
Revias?
about.
Yes.
Girl with hat? No, you'd said girl with purple hat, I'd have been right there.
Okay. Yeah, that's a show
Yeah.
about people grieving and trying to get over things while
Yeah,
still...
Infinite
I've heard,
Revias is
I've heard
rad.
that one's quite good.
Yeah, all about grief. But however, I'm going to talk next about a show that has nothing to do with grieving. It's Sekkou
Yes.
Sekko Boys, which is the story of a boy band in Japan that's composed solely of statues, specifically the busts of 4 Greek gods, Greek and or Roman gods.
And St. Francis of Assisi.
Yeah,
And Medici.
and Medici. So
4 art busts.
really, yeah, 4
Well, no, he's
see
St.
them behind
George.
him.
He's St. George. He's not Francis.
Oh, St. George,
marble
right, yeah.
busts. A young producer, fresh out of art school, decides she's going to come and become a producer for a boy band.
Because
and
she's sick of art.
Because she's sick of art, which seems like a plot point, except it isn't really until the last episode when it comes back for no reason. But hey, who cares? It's about good, plain fun with these statues that somehow still manage to move around. Well, they move. Their faces don't move. They're still always statues, but
Like they're physically static, but they move.
between cuts,
Yeah.
they're
Well,
like...
sometimes you'll see them like creeping.
Yeah, I guess I don't want to bring up a Doctor Who reference, but they're a lot like the Weeping Angels, except they only move when you're looking at them.
That's actually what I really liked about that series was there's so many points where it's pretty much stated that they can't move on their own. The
And yet they
producer has
own
to move around,
property.
and
Yeah.
yet there's that one scene where clearly one of them had to have dropped that napkin
Yep.
because you can see the napkin drop.
Well, and
like-
the fact that they're covered in cake on their face when they're out eating cake.
They have no arms. but-
Giorgio attacking that child. He had to be
Right.
out in public on the street by himself
Yeah.
There's
to
a
loom.
lot of ridiculousness in this show. It's just 5-minute episodes. Just give it a try. If you're into the ridiculous sort of anime, it's worth your time.
Yeah, not a gag anime, but
It's a
still
gag
very...
anime. It's definitely not like a pun
Yeah.
gag anime, but
Yeah.
it's physical gag.
You know,
It's supposed to be bizarre.
It's a
yeah.
lot closer in line to something like a Nichijou or a
Yeah.
or a Lucky Star in that sort of gag anime.
I mean, I give it at least 3 episodes because that's about where it took me.
It's going to take you
Yeah.
15 minutes.
A lot of
You-
people
you-
don't like it at all.
Yeah.
You can skip the opening and ending. You won't want to.
I just wanted to spend time trying to figure out who each of the voices were, even though I know it says on the screen, but I can't read kanji. And I never did, so...
No, I found until like episode 4 is when I really got hooked, whereas the first 3 I was kind of like, this is weird.
For first
But-
30 seconds. Go ahead, Heather.
All right. My second one I actually really like is the second season of Akagami no Shirayuki, which is Snow White with the red hair. Which I watched the first season, which it was okay. It's good. But I really like the second season better because she leaves the castle. She has to do stuff for the first prince, which really annoys the second prince, who's more of her love interest. And they're kind of just this really nice, young, somewhat romantic relationship, but she's clearly got much more going on this time around. And she's trying really hard, and the two of them are getting closer, but it's not like a rushed, weird thing. And I like the whole thing of how it's like they realize they want to go that way, but maybe not like super fast. And you find out stuff about her father, which was a little weird, but I thought it was cute and charming.
Yeah, you talked about this series before.
Yeah.
It's
And
it's
cute
very,
and charming, I think.
It's laid back. It's cute. It's slice of life almost.
It doesn't have to rush itself, which is really nice. It does want
very
it
chill.
wants to take its time, which is interesting because what I've heard of the manga is that it really takes its time. I'm not sure I'm down with that, but yeah.
Yeah, I really like it. I do kind of wish that if they were going to call it Snow White with red hair, that it had a little bit more to actually do with
Snow White.
Snow White. Like, I don't really understand the reasoning for that. In the first season they make a couple references to it where it's like red apples and the prince says some stuff about that's kind of a line from the fairy tale, but then after that they don't really do anything at all.
There's
and
no seven dwarves, there's no evil witch.
Which I'm fine with. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I just don't get the reasoning for the title.
Yeah, it might just be that the author liked Snow White and wanted to introduce something. Like, clearly, she is Snow White with the red hair. She's not the Snow White.
Yeah.
I think
Is she like a combination of Rose Red and Snow White?
No. Not at
Because
all.
Akagami, which is the red hair, right? Yeah, and then you
Shirayuki.
Yeah, Shirayuki.
Oh, Shirayuki.
Yeah, Shirayuki is how they. And so it's like clearly they like the idea of playing with this idea of a white princess, and maybe there's a purity to that. Maybe that's what they're going for, a metaphor involved with how they describe Shirayuki-hime as opposed to describing Snow White like in the classical Disney sense. I don't know, but it's good.
Classic Disney.
Classic Disney.
Not all fairy tales are Disney. Did you know that? Disney didn't come up with those fairy tales.
Hashtag not all fairy tales.
Do yours.
Why don't you talk about your anime?
All right, I'm going to talk about Konosuba.
Ugh.
What is it?
Konosubarashi Sekkai ni Shukuhuku o.
It's the Grimgar that's not the fun one.
Yeah.
Or rather, it's the fun comedy-driven Grimgar.
Or do you mean the Sword Art Online, or is it the Log Horizon?
It's the titty shaking Grimgar.
So Overlord?
Never seen Overlord. I can't even answer that.
It's the MMO.
This is like, it's really, this is Shirayuki-hime still. Konosuba.
I mean, it looks good.
Yeah, Konosuba is weird. I liked the gag aspect of it, but we watched 5 episodes of it, and I kind of got to a point where I'm like, I'm not, because you weren't that interested in watching it, which is fine. And then I got to a point where I was like, after 5 episodes, I'm like, I want there to be more going on than there kind of was, and it's very much a boy dies and he's a useless NEET. He meets this goddess, and she's like, "Aha! You know what? I'll tell you what. Why don't I send you to this world so you can fight monsters and save them from the Demon King? And you'll have a chance to live again." He's like, "Sure, why not?" She's like, "Great, you get to take one thing with you. Here's a whole bunch of stuff." He says, "Well, if I'm going, I'm going to take you with me." And I'm like,
right,
and I'm feeling like,
Yeah.
my goddess strains, right? I like this idea. That's what happened, right? I want a girl like you to stay with me forever. This is like a balls to the wall comedy, though. This is the idea of what it's supposed to be, and there is so much boob jiggling, and it's kind of exhausting.
That's not the reason I didn't like it.
Oh, I know, but I was finding it exhausting because it was like every chance they had to put it in there. But some of the comedy and gagging in it, I thought was really good. Like there was the giant frogs that would eat people up if they were bad at fighting the giant frogs, and I thought those moments were quite funny. I thought it was quite funny that the lich or whatever the hell it was that was living in a castle, he came down to challenge everybody who beat him up.
Warrior.
Yeah, and he wanted to challenge them to a fight because somebody kept coming to his castle every day and blowing it up. and that's when the one girl who uses explosion magic realized that every day she was using the castle as practice and blowing it up.
It was empty.
She thought it was empty. It wasn't. He was living there the entire time, so now he's taken that, and she's been doing it for weeks. I loved those kind of things. I was like, this is really good. But there was just something about it that, despite the I thought really good animation and the really bright colors, and I love the ending theme. I thought it was really good too. I'm like, there's just something about them, like, it did not sustain my interest. I could make myself watch the rest of it. I don't think I will.
So my understanding of Konosuba is that it's actually fairly popular.
Yeah, I can understand
Which,
why.
Yeah. It's not fair. Like, we kept making the Grimgar joke. I don't think it's fair to actually compare it to Grimgar.
It's in that kind of very popular genre right now with the trapped in an MMO.
But it's a comedy. Grimgar's clearly not a comedy, and I feel
Grimgar's
like
a drama.
trying to
Yes.
compare the two and call one the funny one versus the other one is not a fair
It sounds to
comparison.
me a lot like, is it fair to pick up girls in a dungeon?
Which I've heard is actually a lot better than I gave it credit. And I never watched it, but I've heard people say actually that
I've heard that people like it,
Yeah.
but I don't have any interest in it.
Yeah, I'm not interested either.
The like Beej mentioned the explosion magic girl blowing up his castle and he shows up. I actually think it's funnier when he shows up later, weeks later, and he's mad this time because nobody's come to continue fighting him.
Yes,
'Cause
because he did
that's
challenge
funny.
them and nobody had bothered to show up.
Like
And he's lonely.
There's some funny parts to it. I mostly just don't like the character interactions, and I need good character interactions.
That's what I was
for
going
my
to ask,
anime.
is what you didn't like about it.
Yeah, I'm done.
I don't have a third one, but I would like to mention that we finally watched Sarasabari,
Yes.
the movie.
Miss Hokusai,
oh yeah,
Sado Suberi.
yeah, that was good.
So good. The girl with the calligraphy.
Painting.
Oh right,
Hokusai's
okay.
daughter.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was really good.
It was a good movie.
It was
Yeah.
a great movie.
I don't know.
Super good. Okay,
Double title.
so that, guys, yes, that means I'm rounding it off here from our house with, oh wow, yeah, Showa Genroku Rakugo Shinju.
So good.
I can't tell which was the better anime of the season, this show or Erased, but
They're two
I think
very different
Rakugo
shows.
was better. I think I liked it more.
again, I said I want adult anime about people doing adult things. This is that show. Again, beautifully animated from start to finish, with care taken in the backgrounds, foregrounds, characters. Characters grow up, characters have an arc, and the only infuriating thing about it was that it was the way it ended. Because
Really? I liked the ending.
I loved the ending too.
Okay.
I loved
But-
it, and it was infuriating because it told a story. It told a story from beginning to end. It told us a story, though, that could have more. And then they do a little preview thing at the end saying, hey, we have more story to tell. Here's some short 3-second clips about what the rest of the story might be if we get another season. Hint, hint,
Yeah.
please buy our Blu-rays.
Yeah, they didn't actually say we're doing another season. They said, well, we'd have to do more in season 2. Like, literally, the one character's like, we can come back and do more. We'll need to have a season 2. And I'm like, that is, like, blatant.
You know what, though? That sounds like something that would happen from a theater performer who's like, I need people coming back constantly.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm going to tell you, there's more to this story.
The story that finished was the flashback.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
The actual story didn't reach completion.
Story's
Yeah.
about
and that's where second season would
The
be.
story starts with a guy coming out of prison and deciding, because he heard a performance of Rakugo, this Japanese oral storytelling tradition, saying, I got out of prison, I liked seeing that, I'm going to go find the master and I'm going to apprentice under him. And then the master starts telling the story about how he got into doing Rakugo.
And then 13 episodes later,
You get to see his entire story about how he and his partner got into Rakugo and rose up through the ranks, and I will leave the rest for you
Yes.
to see yourself,
Really
because
good.
it's
But all we saw was the end of that flashback.
Yes.
Yeah.
So now we have the rest of all of their stories to go through. And not only does it actually do a great job in telling its own story, it's a great introduction to the Japanese concept of Rakugo. Because even in translation, the translators we saw who did this on Crunchyroll were just fantastic at translating this oral Japanese storytelling art. I laughed. I could tell when good and
Yeah.
bad storytelling was happening. And it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
If you have time to sit down and watch a 13-episode series, and you're interested at all in Japanese culture, and you're interested at all in seeing a beautiful rendering of pre-war and
The Showa era.
of Showa-era Japan.
Adults who have a particular job.
So
Yeah.
good.
What it's like to be a young
Yeah.
man and kind of have that push and pull of what do I do with my life.
And I do want to mention as well, I found it weird when I was putting this list together at the beginning of the season, that all my favorite anime from this season feature people smoking. I don't get what deals with
How
that.
about that?
Well,
Like chimneys.
Showa era, smoking would have been much more common.
There is another Rakugo anime.
Which is
which
not
was your comedy
a show
girls.
about Rakugo at all.
This is Joshiraku.
Yeah.
And I was keen to watch it, and I think I watched like an episode and fell asleep. Then I tried watching
just-
another episode and fell asleep.
The staging in it and the framing for the storytelling was just not as dynamic. And
Yeah, because they
anime
didn't
is-
feel like what they were doing was actually let's talk about the art. They were like, let's have our moments of telling our stories to ourselves, and
Yeah.
let's have a moment of telling
Yeah.
the story to the audience. And I'm like, I didn't like it as much. I should go back and watch it because it's probably a good way to enjoy more Rakugo. But I mean, now that I've been introduced to it through this, I feel like I would appreciate that show more.
I feel like you should maybe just go watch real Rakugo.
That would be even if I'm gonna go.
Ian says there's subtitled shows.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice.
Didn't
That'd be
he?
good.
Yeah, watch this. So good.
Okay. Shoujo-tachi wa koya wo mazasu?
Close enough.
Sure.
Yep.
Girls Beyond the Youth Wasteland. Because I liked that show. It's about a club. What's the
school
actual club? What's the actual club
I
name?
don't- direct marketing. I don't know.
Yeah, there's it's so
MLM?
there
It was a marketing club.
It's a right. It's a marketing club. There's a girl who wants to make essentially a dating sim
a galgay,
game.
but not an eroge. She
No,
was-
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she has a club at the school, but the club is listed as essentially a marketing club or a financial club of some sort. And she's the only member, and she's going around and gathering people. Rather, she gathers one guy that she thinks could do the writing, and she wants him to do the gathering because she's going to be the producer.
Oh, she's an
And-
idea person.
Well,
That's literally-
her brother works in the industry, so she knows quite a bit about the industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's more about
She should know the
The-
value of ideas.
the guy who's going to be writing it and him kind of figuring out what he wants to do, but there's some other characters which I don't know. I really wanted it to be more about the girl who wanted to produce the game, and I liked it well enough. I think it was good. There's some stuff that happens in the end that I kind of felt like they piled on too much that didn't need to be there. Like it kind of came out of nowhere to try and raise the stakes even higher when they'd already raised them and they could have just
Yeah.
done it.
I'm looking at the series behind me and I'm thinking, your description was like, oh, it's a girl, she's the main character, and then she finds the guy, and I'm like, oh, is this a reverse harem show? And I'm looking at this now and I'm saying, no, it's a harem
harem
show.
show.
It's not a harem show.
Yeah.
It's not. There's
They're
two
not
guys.
not all to date
There's
each other.
there's three girls. They're not really into each other at all in that respect.
There is a bit of there's a bit of this respectful relationship, though, I think, between.
It's a working relationship
Yeah.
for
Okay.
most of them.
Okay.
It's I would not describe this as a harem show. I don't know if it's labeled as one, but I don't think it
So
should be.
it's, so it's closer to a Shirobako than to a Love
A little
Hina.
bit is not as good as a Shirobako.
Oh, God, yeah.
Definitely not. But
you still
there's,
liked it.
the other guy who's in the show, who wants to help make this game, but has no skills in regards to game making. He gets to be essentially HR. So he's doing stuff. Every time they bring up relationships, he kind of literally gets on fire, like a dark black fire.
Right.
And goes really dark because he's been dumped previously, and so he thinks all women are just insane and annoying. So anybody who has a nice relationship that's just, and it's kind of funny when he does it because he only does it twice, so it's not overdone.
It's a very
Good.
minor part of the show.
Okay.
I still like it.
I know. It's yeah, and I didn't ultimately because I felt like I wanted to see something that was more like Shirobako, and I was disappointed that it was not. My expectations were incorrect.
Have you watched Barakamon?
Yes. That's the calligraphy one, isn't it?
No, that's
No, the manga one.
Bakuman.
Bakuman? Oh,
Yeah.
instead of Bakuman. Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. You're right.
We watched part of Bakuman, and then we stopped because we couldn't keep up or
I
something.
think we were waiting for more to happen, and then we didn't go back to it.
Yeah, and I thought
But
it was.
it has a lot of the process
Yeah.
in it. So
Yeah, and I think maybe that's the thing, is that Shirobako was also one of these things, was a show where it's like, this is very heavy on the process and what it does to the people that are involved. And yet I felt like what should have been happening with Girls Beyond the Youth Wasteland is that I never felt as if they were going to fail. And yet in Shirobako, because it's an adult world,
drama.
yeah, in adult world, it felt like they can fail, and they definitely will fail. Like that's what's going to happen, is that they'll find all these ways to fail because it's an adult world. Whereas in high school, because it was put in high school, maybe I felt like no matter what they do, they can't fail at this.
Well, and that's the thing. Like they
and maybe there's no life lessons.
For throughout the entire thing, it does feel like if they fail, then whatever.
What does it matter?
They tried, right? And I was okay with that. I wasn't looking for Shirobako out of this. I was looking for the character interactions, which I really liked. And but like at the end, there's like a competition thing, and I'm like, okay, this is where they raise the stakes. But then they added in this other thing, like this is the thing that's supposed to make you feel like if they fail, there's like this double failure point that would be absolutely worse. And I'm like, they didn't have to bring that other thing in. They already had it with this part over here.
Yeah.
And that doesn't really get added in until the end.
Yeah. I think it's a contentious show for that kind of reasons. I'm like, I don't think they did anything wrong in the show, but I do think that my expectations of what was coming out,
What you wanted.
what I wanted, I didn't get.
Yeah.
But what you wanted, you definitely got.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So what did you watch?
So what I watched is Dagashi Kashi.
A show that Beej definitely got what he wanted out
I
of
knew
it.
exactly
The
what I
rest
wanted
of
out
us
of it.
Don't care.
Yeah. Because I like culture, but I like pop culture, but I also like boobs. Okay, let's walk that back a little bit. Hotaru has big boobs.
We're
and-
okay with
and
all of those things.
yes.
We like some of those things more
Yeah.
than others.
There
That's
is-
not why we didn't like
Yes,
Dagashi Kashi.
yes, Beej, there is best wife and there is breast wife.
Yes. And Saya has nice legs, apparently, and all those things. What I liked about the show was...
I mean, for a 2D girl.
What I liked about the show was it basically... It could have been boiled down to a bunch of like 5 or 6 minute shorts.
It should have been.
Yeah, and it probably would have been really good if it had, because
Absolutely.
each manga chapter is about 9 pages. And so...
A short anime would have been
Wow.
perfect.
Would have been great for that, right?
But they saw marketing potential.
Well, every episode has 2 chapters or more piled into it.
Right.
It might have been more effective if it was a bunch of actual shorts, or if it was like Azumanga Daioh, where they're like, we're going to literally split it into multiple tiny episodes within one episode. It would have been made a little more sense instead of it felt like having to cram a little bit more stuff in there.
Yes.
By the same token, it was a lot of fun for me to see stuff from the manga be animated. A lot of the ridiculous stuff that went on, all the flights of fancy and stuff that are going on, the imagination stuff. I
did it
really loved
compare?
watching that all being done.
Like, was it well done compared to the...
Yeah, I thought they really delivered on what the manga puts out there.
Does it follow the manga really well, or does it kind of diverge?
It grabs chapters from different spots and slams them together to kind
So
of
it's
make
not
more.
consecutive.
It's not consecutive. It tries to, because the point of the manga is that it's like this is the manga's a Mobius strip. Like
Okay,
it
so
starts
it's
with
already
yeah,
kind of broken up.
It starts with one thing, and it's like you could read these all out of order, and it never will matter.
Nothing happens and there is no ending.
Nothing happens. There's no ending, and I knew all that going in, and I'm like, that's fine
Fine.
because I know that
Yeah.
all it's about ultimately is the candy, and that all I want to do is learn about the candy, and it was fun and refreshing and interesting. And there's a subplots of Saya likes Kokonotsu, and Kokonotsu likes girls. Thinks he likes Hotaru, isn't really sure if Hotaru likes him back, but Hotaru doesn't really have an interest in boys, she has an interest in candy. And it just is what it is. So I was like, yeah, this is very like part of, boys being part of their youth and not understanding things. And I was like, this is really good. I really enjoyed it.
Is that what boys act like?
They can.
I don't believe you. I grew up around boys.
Yeah.
None of them acted like
As a
that.
girl.
Corey,
I was one of them.
you got anything else in
No,
winter?
we are on to spring.
Thank
It's
goodness.
springtime now.
I get
Moving forward to the present day.
yes, please.
Speaking of
Alright.
which, I would like to have a discussion about, not right now, but I would like to have an on-screen discussion about Shirobako at some point.
Yes, please.
So I
Okay.
have opinions.
Both seasons?
Yes.
Yeah. All right.
Can we all rewatch it together first?
I think we
and do
should.
it?
So
Yeah.
Asking a lot.
we two are watching Joker Game.
Yeah.
How
Tell
is
me
that?
about
How is that? Tell me.
I like it. It's interesting.
It's adults doing adult things.
Here
So
we
it's
are.
set in 37.
Okay.
So Japan's kind of going through modernization and stuff. They're occupying Manchuria, as
This
they
is like
do.
As you do.
Russo-Japanese war preview, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a
Okay.
period piece.
yeah.
And so there's been the establishment of a spy agency, and they have relations with the military. And so the main character is the military liaison with the spy agency, and he's supposed to deliver messages about what the spy agency is supposed to do and monitor their training, supervise them,
Okay.
basically. And so where we're at right now is that the military guy has kind of discovered that maybe he wants to learn how to be a spy, because so far they've been treating him like an idiot, and he's not actually stupid. And that's where the Joker game comes in, is because he kind of ran into a poker game they were playing and didn't understand that the game that they were actually playing was that the people around them in the room were supposed to be delivering signals to people that were playing, and you had to monitor what side you thought the people giving the signals were on.
Oh, interesting.
And so it was just like this big spy game.
All just by keeping up an appearance of some people playing a poker game.
Yeah.
Neat.
And so
And-
he's like,
Yeah, so
he wants to learn more about being a spy.
like, as a soldier, if I can say,
Yeah.
he comes from an idea of, we have to do things for the country, and we have to do things courageously because we are Japanese people with honor, and so being put in with
Yeah.
these people who are spies, who are inherently dishonorable people, he's fighting this whole internal battle. Like, do I remain a soldier? Am I a soldier, or am I a spy?
There's this whole other world that I know nothing about, but yet it seems to be very important.
It's not that he knows nothing about them. It's just that what he thinks they do is different from what they actually do.
And so he's learning how to be a spy after these guys have already gone through all the training and have already picked up the mindset of what it is to be a spy.
Can we watch this?
I want to watch this.
Yay,
Why are
good.
we not watching it?
Because I thought what it was a shonen fighting anime.
No,
No.
not
Because
at
there's
all.
something out there that has Joker in the title.
Yes.
And I heard that, and I'm like, oh, this is just second season of whatever the fuck that
Oh.
was.
In
No,
terms
no,
of
no.
animation, it's
And
absolutely
so far it's actually been not gory at all.
it's absolutely beautiful. Like, they had a chance to have a guy do seppuku, and they didn't do that. So clearly
yeah.
the gore is not right there. And I don't think any of them are going to get really hurt at all, because art-wise, this show is clearly just a jumping-off point for so many BL doujinshis. They are all
hot
so
guys.
pretty.
Super
Excellent.
ripped.
All right.
Yeah.
Super on board.
Yeah.
What? I like hot guys.
At,
for you.
at most, shirts are going to come off, but that's
Shirts
about
did come off.
it. Right.
Joker
Perfect.
being free.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Okay,
Go on.
so me. Next up, I'm going to talk about. Oh no! It's
I love how
time.
you brought it up, but he spent most of the time talking. Whatever.
It works.
You got to get through most of it
Calm down.
We're both very excited
because
about the series.
because you're going to get to talk more about this one,
okay.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure,
All right.
4th season.
Is it also the final season?
No.
God no!
No.
I think JoJo is forever, isn't it?
Jump on the JoJo train, Beej, because this hype train is riding till the end of time.
All right.
I can get on whenever I want.
This is the story of Josuke.
Yes.
Josuke, not Joestar, because he is the
No, it's
grand.
Joe- he's not a Joestar.
He,
right?
he is not technically a Joestar. He carries the Joestar blood because he is the illegitimate child of Joseph Joestar, the oh my goddamn guy from the last
Who
series.
breaks cameras?
Yes.
Yeah.
So Jotaro has come to this city to find Josuke because there may be another stand user in this town.
All right.
Stands, of course, being the psychic projections of your own
being.
being that were brought into, or that were popularized by famed criminal Dio Brando in the previous series.
All right.
Anyway, turns out there's a guy in town who's shooting people with an arrow that makes you get a stand.
Yeah.
Bad things are happening, and so
Wow.
it's the most JoJo-y thing there is.
Just like all the other JoJo's.
Do you want to pick this up?
I like the most I can say about it is that it's super small scale. Like my favorite JoJo's are the super small scale, and it's like I love this and I love Stone Ocean, because they're just like super contained. Like the stakes are the world basically.
Right.
But it's just in this little town,
Right.
and it's just high school boys.
Well, that seems very approachable.
Whereas the last season was a
And
trek.
actually, I think it would actually be an okay starting point. Like I would suggest starting with Stardust Crusaders still,
Right.
but this one is still fairly approachable.
This one hasn't been memeified to death on the internet.
How many JoJos would you rate it?
I mean, you can, and that's an
well,
arbitrary
there's 3
scale.
JoJos in it.
Okay,
Yeah.
that seems good.
So 3 out of 3.
3 out of 3.
The other thing I want to mention about it is the art style of this one, which it's...
Like you see the color warping that's going on in like
Yeah.
the intro.
Yeah.
It's actually always like that.
That doesn't stop.
Oh, neat.
Whereas the previous series was a little bit more, like, they've been getting progressively more abstract in
Right.
their style. This one maintains it through the whole while, but it doesn't. It's never offensive. It's never obtrusive to your
And
viewing.
the outro is "I Want You" by Savage Garden.
Yes, continuing on the JoJo trend of classic American rock.
Is it a very would you then I'll ask you this though, would you say that the fact that they're going abstract in a lot of the art, like they're actually simplifying the color schemes and stuff like that, do you think that's kind of a cheat, or do you think that's actually because they're trying to achieve something
It's
artistic?
beautiful.
If you watch it, if you look at it, this is very intentional, and there is care putting into this. This is not cheaping out.
Just yellow skies and purple trees. I'm kind of like, is this
Look at
It's,
the
it's,
look
it's
at the
not always
detail.
like
well,
that.
look at the
It's
low
just
detail.
like-
That's the thing.
The detail on those trees is pretty high. Those houses are all individual. It's not just a row of copy-pasted
That's fair.
houses.
That's fair.
None of that is 3D'd.
Yeah,
It's all just very...
but there's lots of pans.
Care is taken into
Well, that's
oh, yeah.
the intro.
Yeah, it's fair. Okay,
Care is being taken...
I
into
won't
that.
be a shit about JoJo. I promise.
Heather, tell us what you like.
Oh, Ian. Ian, my hopes are being raised.
Okay.
Sailor Moon.
So in Crystal,
Supposedly, this 3rd season
I saw the reanimation.
is better.
I have feelings.
The animation is supposed to be better. I haven't seen it yet, but my hopes have been raised, so now I have to get through season 2 so I can watch season 3.
I watched all
what
of the transformation
That's what I
sequences.
can't do.
look
I
amazing.
don't want it to be that so good that I have to say, you have to get through 2
I
seasons
don't
before it
know if
starts
you
to get
have
good.
to actually watch the first 2 seasons, though, like especially if you've already seen Sailor Moon.
That's the problem.
we know the story, right?
But even though I'm not particularly hot on some of the stuff that's going on in the first 2 seasons, I want to watch that. But I'm really excited about the idea that season 3 is going to be better, and also hoping that that won't get dashed by reality.
Keeping your expectations in check.
It's hard to do when I like things.
Oh, the PV looks so
It
good.
also just came to mind, though, that I'm sorry I have to keep my expectations in check, because S was my favorite series of Sailor Moon, too. And I realized after the fact partially why that is, because that was the season where Ikuhara really started to take the reins and make things weird, as Ikuhara does. And so I'm kind of, I don't know if I want to see.
I believe they've skipped the Doom Tree stuff.
Oh yeah, they totally skipped the
which,
Doom Tree.
Which is fine, because that should not have been animated.
It was okay.
Yeah, it was all right, but it's better that they're not redoing that.
No, after watching after listening through Sailor Business doing a rewatch, no, we don't need to see Alan and Anne come back at all ever.
I still
Episode
have to listen
13,
to that
the
podcast.
target is babies.
But right. But I'm excited, and I'm gonna watch it.
Looks
Yep.
really
And-
good.
And I still think, like, a lot of people who haven't seen Sailor Moon actually do really like the new one, which is fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think the old one's better.
Yeah,
But I'm excited for the idea of a new one that looks good to my expectations.
if it can get people into watching Sailor Moon, that's probably a good idea.
Hi.
Hi, go ahead.
It looks phenomenal. Tonkatsu DJ Agetaro.
Oh, right.
Agetaro works at a tonkatsu shop, or rather his dad
Is it
makes him work
Tonkatsu
there.
DJ?
And he makes tonkatsu, but then one day a guy comes by and is like, hey, I'm going to go to a party later. And he's like, oh, but I don't do parties, but it sure sounds like fun. And so then he's made to deliver tonkatsu to the manager or whatever of the club. And he's like, oh, is this a club? His dad makes him go deliver. He's like, is this a club? And the guy's like, yeah, why don't you come in for a while and hang out? It'll be cool. And while that's all going on, he gets to see DJ Grandmaster Fry, or whatever the hell his name is, just this big black dude just busting beats. He realizes that his dad has all the same moves as the DJ, and the DJ speaks to him through his mind and says, "That's right, yo, you can become a great DJ too because you know how to make tonkatsu."
How am I not watching this?
This is so insane.
Now.
It's stupid.
It's so
funny.
stupid.
It is really stupid, but
looks
it is
amazing.
really
Yes,
funny.
it is.
Didn't he want to be a DJ?
No, he wanted to do anything but be a
Right, okay.
tonkatsu man.
Right, he didn't
now
want to
he
do
wants
that.
to be the best in the world at tonkatsu and the best in the world at DJing.
So he can be a tonkatsu DJ.
Anime of the season right here.
It's so dumb. I love it.
It looks
Oh,
Dig it.
Kid method.
Yeah, dig it. It's so good. On to you.
so stupid.
okay.
It's so
Wow. Boku no Hero Academia.
Yay.
funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we got a world where most people have superpowers called quirks, and it's kind of genetically passed on. Got the superhero All Might, who is the strongest and bestest and represents everything that is good about heroing.
And the
And
best
America.
And
hairstyle.
we've got the super fanboy Midoriya, who does not have a quirk.
One of very few
What?
people in the world that doesn't.
And yet he wants to enter the academy that they train the heroes at because he's superhero fanboy. And it goes from there, kind of. It's a world of shonen fighting and explosions and stuff, but actions have consequences. The characters are mortal.
And the messiest crying.
And the Messi is crying like leaky
No.
face.
The animation is
leaky
good.
face, vomiting blood.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, the animation's really charming.
What I love about it is that it takes 4 episodes to get through the prologue sequence. Any other shonen anime would be
Which
like,
is like 2
yeah,
episodes.
to be like, boom, we're done. You know, like you got through the whole thing. Yes, we're going to establish it. We're going to pick it up. Now you're at school. And it's like, no.
Yeah, the closest thing I can compare it to is Naruto.
It's like
But
the
it's
seasons
like
of Naruto.
even Naruto is like 2 episodes, and then you're kind of into training with teammates and stuff.
Yeah.
And this is like 4 episodes in, and you're kind of almost there.
I was struck by the idea that, and I swear this came up, where I'm sure the mangaka said that this is his reaction to Western superhero stories.
You can see
Which
it in
makes
his
sense.
designs.
Yeah, and you can see it through the whole thing, and it's lovely that it's like, I'm going to take my time to tell the story, and yes, this is going to be very Shonen Jump. I have no idea if it's in Shonen Jump or not, but it's a very Shonen Jump style story. It can probably go on for friggin' decades, which I'm sure that was the intention. But it really does feel like, you know, I'm gonna focus and we're gonna turn this into something that's actually good, not just something that's Monster of the Week type pap. That's what I think.
What I really like about it, from what I've seen, because I
Yeah.
only saw the first 4, and I know some people have read manga.
I've read the manga.
I
I'm
stopped.
currently reading the manga. I'm keeping going
Okay.
because it is too good right
The
now.
thing I really like the character interactions are great, but I really like the character designs.
Yeah,
Like
there's so much
the boy
variety.
really makes me think of Mickey Mouse for some reason.
Oh.
But All Might, what he really looks like
Yeah,
is awesome.
is amazing.
It's the best thing ever.
Yeah,
He's the Hokage.
it's like you've seen like Recovery Girl. And,
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's really
What,
cute.
Mountain Girl?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the one that has the frog tongue,
Yeah,
like just all the characters are like, it follows that rule where it's like, if every character you draw has the same silhouette,
yeah.
you're not getting there.
But there's like that bird guy with arms that he can make come out of his
Yeah.
back, and I was just really curious about how they would draw it, and I saw it in the last episode, and I was like, oh, they're flesh colored.
Yeah, that's yeah,
Oh,
that's flesh webbing.
it's flesh webbing.
So for me, this series is hitting me right in the feels in a way that I haven't felt since Naruto, because it's that shonen feeling of hard work and achievement. Like the minute in episode, I think it's 3 or 4, when he just out of the blue, it's panned the city and says, "Oh, by the way, did I forget to mention this is the story of how I become the strongest hero?" Like, oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can't take the feeling.
he's
Yeah.
so earnest.
Yeah.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
He
And
deserves everything.
You kind of want to hate him for it in a way because you're like, no,
No.
I want you to be
Not
better.
at
Like,
all.
I want you to be more confident, right?
He's
I want
going
you
to
to
get. He's going to get there.
but he's gonna get there.
He's the fanboy character I like seeing, the one who is really obsessed, takes notes, does things, but
Tries hard.
wants to push forward and have a goal as opposed to the fan character.
But
you
is
see
also
who's just obsessive.
selfless.
Yes.
Yeah,
So-
like that's like
Yeah.
every time All Might talks about how he is a true hero, I'm like,
Well,
yes,
and,
I
mean,
want to
you-
be that.
You even said it. It's like in this world, actions do have consequences.
Yeah.
And that was what was lovely about it. Is I'm like, there are some moments where I'm like, we're gonna Deus Ex Machina this shit a little bit, but ultimately we want this to represent that when you do something, like something bad happens as a result. You know, buildings get broken
But
and these other things
the
happen.
machina stops.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
in the future, things are permanent.
Yeah. Which is great.
It's like, this is the first time to show you that maybe it's okay. And then no. Later it's not okay.
Is the manga over?
No.
Oh,
It's like 87, 90 chapters
That-
or something.
that's
it's gonna keep
unfortunate.
That feels like it's also going to be in the same vein as Naruto.
What
where
they're
it goes
in right
forever.
now is introducing the main arc.
oh, in the manga? Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
That's
Yeah.
right, Ian. You
This-
like a show that
it's
goes
why I
on
said
forever.
it's why I said this feels like it's the next Shonen Jump, Naruto,
I
One Piece, whatever.
think-
And it's taking its time and it's doing it
No,
solidly.
I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
come back and rewatch this when it's a crystal version.
All right, Ian. Your go.
Speaking of which, oh no, it's not speaking of which yet. Hey, how you doing? I like this little studio called Studio Trigger because they do some good stuff. And one of their most recent things that they put out is this show called Kiznaiver.
What is that?
It's
Odd.
It's odd because it's a show about. We talked about it before in our Looking Forward To series. It's about some kids who all get a thing that allows them to feel each other's pain. We're only a few episodes in right now, and they're just starting to.
It's not even feel each other's pain, it's take each other's damage.
Yeah, well,
and spread it
Yeah.
amongst
yeah,
like
dam-
100 of them.
damage and pain. And there's the main character who can't feel any pain, and he has flashbacks about a girl telling him, maybe one day you'll get your pain back.
And like
That sounds
science
bad.
experiments, maybe. Who
And
knows?
it's got a style to it. It's got some real character going on in the background. Animation is once again top notch because I like good animation, but not all of the shows I like have to have good animation. I'm looking at you, Sakamoto Deska. And it's Trigger, so I know, God, I hope something is going to click in this series pretty quickly because I'm afraid that this is going to become another when superhero battles become.
Where it just didn't have anything that really caught you until like the end.
I'm worried Trigger is in this cycle of we need to make money and then we need to make something that's personal and good. And I'm worried this might be one of their money shows.
Right, and Luluco's there.
Luca's too
I
short
know,
too,
I know.
but it's good. Again, we're too close to the beginning to tell, but I'm going to keep watching it because I have faith in Trigger.
You're optimistic.
Yes.
Cool. Ace Attorney.
Yeah.
I don't care if it is terrible in so many ways.
It's
The drawings are kind of flat.
To be
Like,
clear,
I wanna say like
in case Paul has to look for it, it's Yakuten Saiben.
yeah.
So starting with a GY, Yakuten Saiben.
Sorry, Paul.
Before anything else, Heather, tell us why you like it, please.
It's Ace Attorney.
Nostalgia mostly.
because it's going through the storyline of the games.
yeah, it's going through the storyline in the game, so I do know kind of what's already going to happen. It's but it's been enough of time has passed that I don't remember every absolute detail, but there's a huge nostalgia factor where, like, when they go through, I think the second case, something happens and they're like, oh, by the way, no, that doesn't work, and you have to do thing now. And I'm like, I remember that part in that game. I hated that, and it was amazing. And yeah, it's mostly nostalgia, but it's also getting to see the thing that I enjoyed playing animated out.
Mm-hmm.
I'm enjoying rewatching the reaction shots and the dumb story and the dumb characters, and I know it's not greatly animated.
Feels cheap.
I know
Yeah.
it feels that way.
I'm worried
sure does.
because everything you're saying is what I wanted to feel. And I'm glad that electrons can't be on fire. Because otherwise my trash bin on my Mac would be an uncontrollable garbage fire.
Ian, maybe it's just because I've seen other Ace Attorney related products, so my expectations are much more.
Well, you watched the
realistic.
Conan
In line.
versus.
And I
didn't
say
you?
this
There's
because
a Conan versus
wasn't there?
Attorney? That
there's
Not a Conan.
it was Leighton.
Leighton. That was it.
there's a manga that Capcom has put out, which are
Oh,
different
yes.
different stories, and I got rid of them after the second one, mainly because I kind of found the stories not really interesting, and they're different stories. So I thought this would be great, but also I'm pretty sure it might not have been both covers, but at least the second cover, I could see the pixels
Yeah.
on the badly placed image.
Yeah.
So this does not bother me in the least.
I have some pictures to show you of the judge traced off screen.
Oh no.
It's
So and though the thing that like I like it because it's like I'm getting to watch the stuff that I forget how the cases go.
Yeah.
And that's all well and good. The one thing I think is like the ones that we are watching the localized version
Oh,
because
that's
it's
right.
available with 2 different subtitle tracks.
yeah, the Crunchyroll.
Yeah, you can watch the localized version, which everybody's name is Phoenix Wright, and so when they refer to him as Naruhodo-kun, and it's always Wright or it's Nick or
Hamburgers.
whatever, and then everything's
Yeah.
burgers
Yeah.
instead of miso ramen, like that kind of thing. Or you can choose to watch the actual translation where everything is like, no, everything's happening in
It's a
Japan.
little better.
And I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
I don't have access to the other one
We're
from where
watching-
we're getting it from.
We're watching
so,
the localized version, which so for me, what I want is the character names to be what I saw in the video game.
Yeah.
But I would really like those hamburgers to be miso ramen because I can hear the characters saying that, and that kind of teeps me off a little bit.
I'm okay with. I'd be okay with hamburgers, to be honest. If
It's not the biggest deal
if I
breaker.
didn't have to stop watching the screen, it's.
you've
I
made this point.
don't
It's understood.
Understand why Phoenix Wright is so far the only series where the live action movie is better than any other form
need to
outside of the
watch.
video
It's a good
game.
movie.
It's really good, and
And
it's
it's basically the first case.
Maybe we'll watch it too.
Yeah, I want to watch that. I also would love to get a hold of the all-women stage show.
Stage
which I
production,
bet
yeah.
is fantastic
Because I've seen
too.
clips and seeing a stage full of people dressed up as Edgeworth moving
Super
the
nice
main
dance.
Edgeworth around while singing a song is awesome.
Again, I cannot wait for this to get crystallized.
Yeah, that would be okay.
And Carbonite.
How's that? Good?
Yeah.
All right. Bakuon.
Well, I'm done.
Bakuon.
You can take back that thing, but you said
Moe on
Baristan.
motorcycles. And it's like anything else where I read a weird Moe series about a weird thing.
Motorcycles are normal.
Yeah, motorcycles are normal,
Yeah.
but the Moe part, whenever they inject that into whatever, and the thing is that the motorcycles are lovingly rendered in the manga and also here, and clearly the person who
Look how
is.
much blush there is.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the girls. I know what the girls look like. But
Even on the motorcycles.
The motorcycles do not have blush. There's a lot of flash, certainly. Anyway, I like it because I like how kind of goofy the idea is, and I also like the fact that I don't know what it is about like enthusiast manga and enthusiast anime where there's a series I'm reading called Car Graffiti JK, which is Car Graffiti Joshikose.
Just kidding.
Joshikose. You know what a JK is?
No, I you know what? If it's this type of series, I believe it is. Car culture. Just kidding. It's about
Yeah.
the women.
It's about these girls who you know
Motorbike.
they drive a car and they go to school and they are interested in cars and they have a Citroen 2CV, which is really
That's-
weird.
that's cool. What's
It's
this
really weird, right? And this is the same kind of thing. This is about girls who go to a school. One of them is the Stig. They go to a school.
She's not the Stig.
She's the Stig.
She always
wears
wear a
that
helmet.
helmet
and
all
She
the time.
never
That
talks.
doesn't-
Okay,
She's
she's the
not the
Stig.
Stig.
She's the Stig.
She's the
not Stig.
she's the Stig's Moe cousin.
Yes, she's
Yes.
the Stig's Moe cousin. I apologize. And she rides a Kawasaki Ninja everywhere. There's a girl who the main character of the series, Sakura, she shows up because she gets interested because she's like, I have to walk up a hill to get to school, but there are no rules at our school preventing you from riding a motorcycle. She discovers that because she sees a girl ride a motorcycle up to school. She's like, oh, I could do that instead of riding a bike or even walking. Maybe I'll just get a motorcycle. That was it. That was
So-
That's normal.
that's all
Yeah.
it took.
And so 3 seconds later, T-Club on motorcycles.
Yes, that's kind of what it is. It's T Club on motorcycles, and it's fun.
So Tea Club.
Yeah.
I would really like to see a series, like a crossover series, where you can get the instruments from K-On!
Yeah.
And the guns from Gunslinger Girl, and the motorcycles from this, and just do a show about that.
Just about the enthusiast pieces and leave. The I don't know why it is, because it's like, I know that the Keisuke Fujisawa, the guy who does Amagatas, he loves motorcycles and Gunsmith Cats, like the same thing where it's like all the mangakas.
Oh yeah, the cars and Gunsmith
They're
Cats.
really,
riding-
really
So-
intricate.
So
They
do
love
you
doing that
like
kind
the
of thing.
show for the bikes or for the girls?
Both.
I don't
Believe me.
understand you.
I really do like it because of all those reasons. I like the fact that there's a twin-tail blonde tsundere with giant baps who always has to wear a racing suit, and no matter what, they always jiggle. I'm like, that is so fucking tedious to look at, and yet it's charming in its own way. I like the fact there's a girl who's like a Richo Josama who rides around in the sidecar, and her thing is that she wants to be a delinquent really, really bad. That's why she wants to ride a motorcycle, but she can't do it, so she has to get her butler to drive her around in a
she can't
Ducati with
do
a
it.
sidecar, which is
she's
anathema.
not old enough to get a license.
Right.
That's the reason she can't do it. You make it sound like she's in a wheelchair.
No,
and
no,
people who are in
but-
wheelchairs can ride bikes.
But it's so dumb in so many great ways. I like the fact that there is the Stig's boy cousin riding a Kawasaki Ninja, and she's been doing it for 20 years.
She's not a high school
I
student.
believe it.
She's not a high school student.
She's not a high school student,
hope not.
but she goes to the high
Not if
school.
she's been biking for 20
It's
years.
so stupid.
She
and
dresses
it's
in her
great.
school uniform.
The guy who's drawing the series, or I'm assuming it has to be a guy drawing the series, but the person who's drawing the series clearly knows this is a dumb idea and is reveling in it, and I'm reveling in it too.
Beej, you are clearly the target market, and I
Yes.
can say this because you love this show, and you love the show about candy that's not about candy, and you love the show about music that's not about music.
Yeah.
And the other show about music that's not about
No,
music.
we gave up on Hado Chica completely.
Hado
I
Chica?
couldn't fucking deal with Hado
That's
Chica.
the detective series.
That was a
about
PA
music.
work show, and I gave it every chance.
I was talking about sound euphonium.
Oh yeah, I love sound
Yeah.
euphonium.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah.
symbol for
I think we're
euphonium.
getting anyway. Euphonium. That's right, because it's not valves. It's
Well, they are valves. They're just up top.
pistons. Yeah, they're pistons.
All right.
Yeah. They're not the keys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of stupid and fun,
Good.
Thank you.
Uchu Patrol Luluco.
Yeah.
Fight
Space
for
control.
justice!
Yeah.
Look, trigger.
Trigger! Trigger!
This is the good Trigger series.
Well, the instantly likable trigger series.
It's likable. It's the most frantically paced thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, okay, character needs to get from A to B and dump dialogue, exposition, just like, wham! And they're there.
Yeah.
They're just like, oh, I've now joined the Space Patrol.
Yep.
The end.
I have a
And
magic pocket.
Episode 3 is the end of season 1, and episode 4 is the start of
This
season
is why we were
1.
saying about seasons, like, I don't believe you anymore. We got to episode 3, it's like, continue to the next season. What?
Yeah.
This is over?
And then it's episode 4.
No, it's a cour of 13 episodes. Just 6 seasons.
Oh.
You're gonna tell me to go to jail
So
now.
we got the characters that are in Space Patrol.
Yeah.
Luluco, who is the main character. We've got Alpha Omega Nova, who is Space Hot Boy. That's Luluco likes. And we've got Midori, the green alien person who
It's sort of a
is part
slob,
of the
but
black market, and
Yeah.
also Luluco's friend that she saved from being shot.
Spoilers.
I don't know.
Spoilers.
I
There are
don't,
no
I'm
spoilers.
not spoilers because everything just happens.
no spoilers in a 5-minute episode series.
Everything just
think-
happens.
I think we could tell you detail for detail what happens in
And
these
then they
episodes,
just drop.
and you still
They're
watch
just like,
it.
here's a trigger reference. Here's a trigger reference. Here's a Gynex reference. Here's a trigger reference.
Yeah.
Anime.
It's like it's Triggers X, or for those of you under 30, like Triggers Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicles.
Wait, was X already a Tsubasa?
Yes.
But X is in Tsubasa.
Yes,
Yeah.
because they needed to make it an X4. Okay, X
The
was
millennials, yeah.
was Clamp's compilation series for all of their characters, and then they did it again for
I thought those were all new characters.
Oh no. They,
Okay, Subaru Sumeragi from like
Wait, are they
Rig
wait,
Veda or
so
Tokyo Babylon.
Holic
He shows up in
is-
that. Holic is the crossover enabling.
Yeah.
Is the crossover enabling
Vehicle.
series. Yeah, vehicle, thank you. To bring Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle and the rest of the Clamp universe to kind of interact with each
Yeah.
other, but not necessarily. But Tsubasa Reservoir Chronicle is really heavily, we're going to take everything from Cardcaptor Sakura and a few other things and kind of mash them in.
Sure,
I think Yuki-chan fits in there
And I
too.
get that, but X?
Was already a crossover?
X
Yeah.
is kind of because I think Subaru Sumeragi shows up in that as
think-
well.
but I think the girls from Earth also showed up.
I don't think
I
they do.
don't
I never
remember
saw it.
seeing them in that.
Maybe I'm getting that mixed up, but
This isn't
I mean,
the
X
Tezuka universe.
was their flagship series, which took them forever to make. We're talking about the wrong things.
Okay, sorry.
back to
Space Patrol Luluco.
Yes.
It's fun. It's goofy. It's very fast.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
There's a guy with a life fiber cape.
That's Luluco's mother.
A woman with life.
Luluco Godspeed, the space
Oh, I
pirate.
haven't seen this episode yet. It doesn't matter that you just spoil it because it's going to be awesome.
That's just her name. You know she's a space pirate because she looks like Harlock.
Oh, that sounds fantastic.
Of course she does. What was I thinking?
Anyways, moving on.
So I had to pick one more series, and there was nothing else I liked this season, or rather, there was nothing else I liked this season where I didn't want to steal from Cori.
Yeah.
But I did want to spend a couple minutes talking about Macross Delta.
Our Lord and Savior can't go.
You've got 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's all I need, because Macross Delta, I think it finally broke me.
Like, in a good way or
No.
a bad way?
There always is a bad way, I would assume.
I don't think I can watch it. It's not for me, which is something I never thought I'd say about a Macross show.
Is it Love Live in Space?
Yes.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Oh.
is
And
very...
their singing gives them definitely magic technology powers.
It is very heavy on the idols, and I was all on board with the idea. Oh, if it's an idol group, and they'll be piloting.
They don't
the
stay in the
Valkyries.
mix.
Yeah,
Okay.
the Valkyries fly in, and they just pop out, and then stand on some sort of hologram stage
Is
that
it
they
more
project
Magical
themselves.
Girl then?
No, it's more idols. It's
It's like
just
we need a couple idol groups
Yeah.
to establish lots of things that people... We need an AKB48
the-
in Macross.
yes, we need to make Macross money by making it an idol show.
Christ.
Then, so the space combat looked like it's pretty okay. I'm gonna have to give it a couple more episodes, but from what I've heard, it just gets worse.
What's the thing about pedigrees, right? Is it's kind of like it's Macross. They're giving it the name Macross. I want to go along with it. Who's doing the music?
And I don't know who's doing the music.
So we don't know if it's Kano's music.
It's definitely not Kano's music.
Oh, no.
But beyond that, I read an article about Macross the other day about the oeuvre,
Okay.
and Macross has always been about pop music save the space.
Sure.
And this is what pop music is right now, I guess.
Which is not your bailiwick.
is idol music, and I really can't get into idol music. I have tried because it is important to the popular culture.
Sure.
But it just doesn't tweak with me, and I actually find it kind of repulsive. And so seeing that now reflected in a series that I used to really like and would really like to get into, because it looks like they're moving the Macross overall story forward
Yeah.
yet again. I just can't get into it, and it makes me mad.
I feel like we
kinda
had to
wanna watch
put
it.
we had to put up with an awful lot from Macross 7 in the fact that we had to have, because they had to keep doing the same songs over and over again. Right? That's the only thing.
Jeez.
The only problem I have with Macross 7 is that it is so long
He
and repeating
sang
the
to
same
her
songs.
every day. Planet Dance.
Yes.
That
I don't listen to
drums.
Planet Dance every day. I don't even listen to Angel Voice every day. It's probably the best song
Yeah.
out of Macross 7.
But that's from
for
the
the-
Space Whales.
That's fair. Yeah,
but
it's-
Macross
it's
7 was, again, it was very representative of the music of its time.
Yes.
And
But it's if I'm
Well,
getting
even Frontier was
Yeah.
the music of its time.
Absolutely.
And it was
Yep.
pushing it with, like, the derpy idol
s-
stuff.
idol singles rather than idol teams.
Yeah, and now the natural evolution of that is that now it's idol teams, which is the big hot thing.
Like,
It's how do we drag
The
Macross
series
into that?
actually starts with the guy pilot finding the female lead, because she is trying to get to another planet so that she can try out for the idol group.
And then, the idol group is there.
Yep.
Now the idol group is fighting while standing on their hologram platforms while the massive shields protect them from
I kind
the
of
fighting
want to
thing.
watch this.
And when you say fighting, they're
At
just
least
singing.
check it out.
They're singing.
They're singing, and the mechs are doing some amazing aerobatics. The choreography of the battle is beautiful. And then the
It is
girl
just happening while plot is going on.
Okay.
sings into a microphone really loud, and then
They win.
Yeah.
She has a weird hair tentacle.
Okay, so we do have to watch a couple of episodes of this.
Well, I kind of want to check it out. I want to see
agree.
what that looks
We're
like.
over our 2 minutes. So
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, okay.
But we helped extend that. Sorry.
My last pick for this season is called, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Mayoiga? Mayoiga?
Mayoiga. Yeah.
Uh,
Lost Village.
Paul got it.
Lost Village, Hidden Village. It's about a group of people who join a tour. They're on a bus going to a hidden village, and they've all met online. Some of them know each other in real life, but they only know each other by their usernames on this tour. They are leaving their lives behind, and they are going to start a new life in this hidden village.
A village that has escaped all notice of any sort of Japanese government.
Oh, that sounds
Supposedly-
ominous.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of internet lore about what happened at this village and why it's not on the radar and why people don't know about it. And it's like, oh, well, the government did a thing here or this happened, and no one really seems to know for sure. It's, if you're familiar with games like 999, where people suddenly, like, mysterious thing happened, we're all in a group here, large people, and people start dying. That's kind of what this is.
Okay.
Do you like adults doing adult things?
I do.
This is idiot adults doing group of people things.
They're not adults.
This is fucking Lord of the Flies.
Most of them are like high school students or a little bit older. They all have. There's a lot of characters, which is why I'm going to be happy when some of them die, because then I have less to keep track of.
It's my wife, ladies and gentlemen.
And well, I mean, some of them are just utter assholes.
I mean,
too,
but they're only there to serve the purpose of dying at that point.
Yeah. And they have all kinds of different backgrounds, but they don't know their backgrounds. They all just think they're going to be a happy group of people in this new village. When they find the village and they show up, there's no one there.
They thought there were going to be people there.
But everything, yeah, they were going to join this village and join in with the community. They can't find the people. There's a lot of dust that suggests that there's been no one here for like a year, but there's still crops and there's still dishes and the things, and there's nothing to suggest people actually left.
Like a farm that's actually been recently tended, like not that's just been left fallow, like
Right.
literally, like it's
Yeah.
been only
Just up to the point where they got there.
Yeah, and so they start to like grab stuff because they're like, well, we have to eat, and when they come back, I guess we'll repay them somehow and whatnot. And then you hear a loud noise from the forest.
That's
I mean,
like
that's-
a bear was fighting a lion.
They
Was
can't
fighting a
they can't
chainsaw?
decide
Yes.
they can't decide what it is. It does not sound like a bear. It sounds like a horrifying thing that it will kill all of them sometime soon. And
Panic.
and there's like immediate panic within the group the moment something bad happens, and everyone's kind of turning on each other, but also forming groups. And
Okay.
it's
Hunger Games.
it's one of those shows where I always kind of feel like I don't know if I want to watch it all the way, because sometimes these have the really depressing endings, and I don't care for shows like that, but there's enough mystery and stuff going on that I want to know what happens.
Sounds like I'll have to give it a try.
It's good. It really is good.
Also, I wanted to put on record that I get excited every time you mention 999 until I realize you're not talking about Galaxy Express 39.
No, I'm talking about 9 doors, 9 hours, 9 people.
Okay.
I
So-
don't know what order those 9s are in, but that one. It's getting a third game.
Excuse me. My pick, and that'll round it out, I guess.
Yeah.
And I really need to go to the washroom, so I'm going to be quick about this.
Fantastic.
Apparently,
Wow.
that's the rule.
Thank you
now.
for-
That's how I'll do this.
The information.
Flying Witch
Oh, right.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
is great.
Okay.
Watching it because I'm reading the manga
Yep.
again. It is super chill. It is really nice. The first half of the first episode is very charming, and really helps set up what's going on. And every other episode after that has just been very nice, very charming, very sweet.
Except for that
and-
mandrake.
Well, yeah, but funny, and I don't know. It's really appealing. It's a small town, and there's a girl who is you saw her on the screen, Makoto. She's a witch.
Oh.
Who flies?
Fucking giveaway there, and she knows how to fly, and she has to stay with a group of people in this small town because she moved to an area. This is in Tohoku, so she's living in that region because she has to move away from home. And yet her parents were like, well, you can't move away from home and live on your own, but that's the whole point of being a witch. So it's like, well, then you're going to leave home and you're going to move in with some people that we know who live in this region. You're going to go to school there. And then she realizes when she's like, wait, this isn't like leaving home at all and becoming a witch. This is just moving in with some other people.
I think
who
she
are also
realized
parrots
that
and-
when they said that, but
yeah.
she wanted to move out.
She wanted to move anyway.
Not Kiki's Not Delivery Service.
This is not Kiki's Not Delivery Service, and it's actually kind of sweet, and it's not a coming of age story for Makoto. It is just if you knew a witch who was a teenage girl who takes it reasonably seriously but is also very pleasant, how would she act? And nobody's ever asked themselves that question, which is fine because this one did it first and they're doing a great job.
Going to have to ask you how this is as it rounds out the season.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm
I'll tell
not
you, if it's
sure.
anything like the manga, it's going to be fucking spectacular.
I'm not sure where it's going.
It's exactly what I want. It's just nothing but slice of life.
So laid back.
Very laid back. I love it.
It's very cute. It is slice
There's no
of
tension.
life.
There's no plot.
There is, yeah, like I can't figure out where it's
I
going.
didn't say tension. I said attention.
Attention.
Yeah, he
is
did
zero.
say
But
attention.
that's not good to know.
But I do think you'd like the mandrake she pulls out of the ground,
Yeah.
which is like this big.
Does it scream?
Yeah.
And
Okay.
wiggle.
And it looks horrifying.
Wiggles.
Of course it wiggles.
It doesn't stop wiggling ever.
Well,
Yeah.
Real pretty.
It's really
yeah.
pretty. It's probably one of the prettier things out this season, actually. There's one thing in the opening where I'm kind of like, I was upset with one thing they did in the opening because it looked kind of goofy. It's just she flies across the screen and basically just looks like they just dragged her across the screen on the cell, dragging a huge, like her broom's farting rainbows, and it's just kind of like, that's
Really?
awkward.
That bothers
It's
you?
the only thing
I
that bothers
can't-
me. Everything else looks great.
I can't stand the green outlining they gave in the opening.
Yeah, but that's just the opening.
I'll have to teach you how
so
you can
I
make
can't stand it.
make a live photo of for your desktop background so you can have her fart rainbows across your iPhone screen.
Absolutely. And with that, I'm done.
all right.
That's good. Yeah.
Well, that's everyone, I think.
That
then,
wraps
isn't
us up. Is that cool?
it? Yeah.
There are other things that I'm watching this season. There's other things I watched last season. So if people bring that up to me on Twitter,
Yep.
understand that I have already watched other things.
Yeah, maybe we should actually let people know where they can find us on Twitter just
Yeah.
quickly if you want to ask us about whether or not we have seen something, what we think.
I'm at Tux Beej.
I'm Lunar Jade.
I'm at iHorner.
I'm at Absolar, and if any of you want to suggest Kekai Sensen, I have been watching it, and it's pretty awesome.
So we'll have a list of all the shows we have listed today in the doobly-doo below, along with our Twitter handles, I guess, too, because I'm saying we'll do that now.
Aha.
And we'd like to remind all of you that this episode of the LRRcast, like all episodes of the LRRcast, post when we started doing it, are supported by you, our faithful viewer, at patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, where you can help us out by keeping us doing what we do. I don't want to say best, but at least competently.
Yeah, keep the lights on and help us eat.
Yeah.
Also, because it's timely, go check out the Desert Bus documentary on Kickstarter, because we're, I think, 2/3 funded, and we're always like to have a little more money because we really want to fund this. I want to see it get made.
Yes. So for that, until next time.
Enjoy your anime.
Bye.
I'm waving goodbye to those of you who are only listening.
グランドスポンスの提供ですは、Atachi です。